Fantastic. So, hi, Nicole, welcome. We're just going to have a very informal chat about sleep. And you said in our kind of introduction, like we were just saying hello this morning, and you said, oh, people don't talk about sleep. So we're just going to have a chat about it.
Yeah,
So that's what we're going to do.
the
Uh,
thing, it's something that should be nice and friendly. It's a friendly conversation about something that we all do every single night. Some do it better than others, but it's something that actually we need for survival, and it should just be a bog standard conversational piece.
yeah, absolutely. And the reason I reached out to you to ask to have this conversation was I deliver a lot of training around productivity, around well-being, helping people to organize their workloads, stay on top of things, and well-being is a really important part of that, right? It's not just about the to-do list and how you organize yourself. It's how do we feel good about ourselves and what it is that we're doing? And people often say to me, and I've noticed this more recently, um, but what if I didn't sleep very well last night? And I can give them hints and tips. Well, actually, if it's a one-off, you didn't sleep that well, let's take this approach to that. But for a lot of people, it's a regular thing. Um, that's the basis of the work that you're doing, right? You're helping people
Yeah,
with sleep. So tell me more about,
normalize it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I think first off, we need to normalize the fact that this is an issue. We are actually in the middle of a sleep epidemic, and 1 in 3 people are struggling with sleep. So if you're sitting there now, kind of going, "Oh, that much? It's not just me." No, it's really not just you. You really are absolutely not alone in this. We are in the middle of a sleep epidemic, and we've got to start talking about it more, and we've got to start raising awareness and offering more of a better sleep education. So if you wake up in the morning and you kind of go, "Oh, wow, that wasn't a good night's sleep. How am I going to get through today?" I'd actually say the first thing you want to do is have a drink of water. There we go. We cue the drink of water at the exact time. Uh, it's like you knew I was going to say it. It's like it was planned. Because the beauty of water is you can actually feel tired when you're actually just a little bit dehydrated.
Ah,
Water gets your blood flow going. It's good for your heart health. And I remember this from my dad when he had heart trouble. One of the things I actually say is that having a glass of water in the morning is great to actually boost everything for the purposes of having better heart health. This is when he was due to have his heart surgery. So it's a really simple tip. And get outside because we need the natural light. We need to reset our circadian rhythm, and we need to start sending messages to our brain to sort of say, okay, yep, we are up, we are refreshed. If you get up and you kind of go, I feel rubbish, your natural thing is you plod around the house. You've left your blind because can I really be positive kind of state because you feel rubbish. But actually, you want to go, what are the things that make me feel better?
mm.
Actually, being outside, the sunlight, open the blinds, have a drink of water. If I need a coffee, I'm going to grab a coffee. We'll talk about cutting that caffeine later. But get yourself started for the day and think about the good stuff that you're going to do because that's the best way to kick your day off.
Yeah, yeah. Thinking about the positives. What are you grateful for? I'm doing a little journal at the moment, and one of the prompt questions is, "What made you smile yesterday?"
Yes.
I love that. That's just such a great question. It gets me smiling right at the start of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when people are feeling tired, when they haven't maybe slept well, people talk about having a foggy brain. Like, what's that about?
It's what happens while we sleep. So we have, I'll talk about how the night sleep works because I always find it super, super interesting. So we've got two different types of sleep. We've got this non-REM sleep, which is the deep, slow wave sleep. So we've got three stages of that. And then we have our REM sleep. So this is our dream sleep, the active dream sleep. In our deep sleep, that's where our body is restoring itself. That's where our immune system is repairing itself. So that's where actually this is the good stuff. This is the stuff that keeps us physically healthy. That's where our growth hormones are released. You'll probably hear about, you'll remember as a kid, people going, have you grown overnight? I didn't. I stopped very early on. But it's actually a real thing because we don't grow in the day. We grow while we sleep because that's when the growth hormones are released. That's when, if you've had injuries from sports injuries, that's when your body is physically repairing itself. So we need that really deep sleep. So that's for our physical restoration. Then we have our REM sleep, which is our dream sleep. This is the bit where it gets probably more to do with the brain fog stuff. So our brain, while we're sleeping, that's where our memory is consolidating everything that we've learned throughout the day. It's keeping the bits that we want to keep. It's kicking out the bits that we don't need to keep. It's the bits that are, are there for our ability to regulate our emotions. It's all these things where it's kind of going, okay, how was today? Actually, that wasn't so good. Deal with that process. And you wake up in the morning, and when people have always said this old wives' tale where they go, everything will feel better in the morning. Everything will feel better after a good night's sleep. There's actually some truth in that, because your brain just compartmentalizes everything while you're sleeping and sorts it all out. And it's basically a full-on brain detox. Now, the way the night sleep is split, the first half is predominantly spent in this deep sleep. The second half is predominantly spent in the REM sleep. So you get all the different sleep stages in all the cycles. But because the second half of the night is lighter and we're all waking up at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, straight away you're going, hang on a minute, I've had a few hours sleep already. That's my deep sleep. Now I'm not tired enough to crash back to sleep. I've woke up, my brain's busy, I'm thinking about things. I can't get back to sleep. So you're not actually getting the REM sleep that you need for that process. So you're waking up and you are foggy because you've just not had that opportunity to sort of process everything.
And that's the question that I said. People submitted questions in advance, and 3 different questions came in, but they were all about the same thing. That, like, I don't struggle to necessarily get to sleep, but I wake up at 3-4 o'clock in the morning with stuff on my mind. Like, what do I do? How do I get back to sleep? Because it feels really hard.
Yeah, right. There's a few things. One of the things I'm going to talk about is actually making sure when we fall asleep, we're actually in the best place to fall asleep. Because the thing is, we have 2 hormones. We have melatonin, which is our sleepy hormone. We have cortisol, which is both our wakeful hormone and our stress hormone. So melatonin only releases in dim light, and it releases about 1 to 2 hours before bed. Cortisol is our wakeful hormone. That peaks first thing in the morning because it's what kicks us out of bed. So we need that boost to get up. Yeah. Now, the thing is, cortisol, if we are stressed, if we're feeling quite stressed, our cortisol levels are high before bedtime. And if our cortisol levels are high, that is an inhibitor of melatonin. So that's stopping the melatonin from releasing. So actually, if we're not producing the melatonin, our cortisol levels are too high before we go to sleep, our stress hormones are up here. When you think our cortisol levels then are rising first thing in the morning and peaking, we're not bringing this down here. You can see the balance is there. So you've fallen asleep already in a heightened stressful state. You're waking up and you're already in this kind of on edge state. Of course you are. So we need to find ways to actually bring that cortisol level down, produce the melatonin. So we're going to bed in a less stressed state. So we're more able to actually sleep better in that second half of the night.
That makes so much sense. And Anna's sitting in the chair like, chat, that's me. Yeah, absolutely. So what can we do?
So, right. So there's so much. So many things. So, right. A lot of this comes, so let's blue light talk first. Let's do a bit of myth busting, because we hear everybody talk about the reason we're not sleeping because we're on screens till before we go to bed. So let's talk about that, because actually it's a small part. But I want to sort of debunk that myth a little bit, because then it makes sense as to what else we actually want to do to help our sleep. And it gives room. So everybody talks about screens and blue light. It's the devil's work before we go to sleep, and that's going to ruin our sleep. The thing is, it's not all about that. I mean, I go on my phone to fall asleep. I play a game because I can't switch my brain off. My brain is constantly busy. So I go on my phone and I play a game where I basically just move things around, and my brain goes, oh, and then I start to shut, and I just basically put my phone down and go to sleep. Now, obviously, that's different for everybody. But if the phone was such an issue, if the blue light was such an issue, I wouldn't be able to fall asleep. It would be stopping me. Yeah. But if I was on my phone and I'm reading the news, or I'm working, or I'm doom scrolling through Facebook or something like that, then no, I'm not going to go to sleep, because that's actually keeping my brain busy. So is it the screen, or is it what we're doing? So
That makes a lot of
now,
sense.
now there is an element that blue light, yes, that is an inhibitor of melatonin. But if you do the things in advance of that that help set the melatonin release off, having a
Mm.
quick go on your phone before you go to sleep, that's not the end of the world. So the best way I could explain it is with children, because obviously this is where it all started for me. It started working with children. And I always say before they go to bed, you want to set the scene. You want to produce that melatonin. So we dim the lights an hour or so before bed. But the amount of families that go, but then we go into the bathroom and the lights are really, really bright because it's natural light that's blowing in. That's fine. You're not going to change that. But you've kicked off the melatonin release. You sent the messages to the brain that it's time to start getting ready for sleep. So that's different. You've sent the message, then you've started your routine. So if
So
we're talking about,
how long of some dim light would it take to start having that chemical reaction in our
it's
bodies?
about 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. So
Okay.
you just shut your blinds.
Yeah.
Just shut your blinds. It's not a bad thing. And again, watching the TV before bed, I'm sorry, we've got to be realistic. Is anybody really going to turn around and go, my sleep's not great, I'm suddenly going to find an hour before I go to bed to not turn my phone off or not watch the TV? We're not there. We're just not there as a society. Yes, some people are great at being able to say, I am actually really disciplined and I will do some meditation or I will do some yoga before I go to bed.
To the best of us
Realistically, how many
mortals.
people do? They don't. We sit down and we go, I'm flipping knackered. I need to switch off. I need to switch my brain off. And I put my head into the junk that's on the TV just to decompress.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say that not to do that because that's just, again, it's all unrealistic stuff.
Yes. Yes.
And everything I talk about is stuff that's free and easily achievable and realistic. And let's not try and start, changing the shape of the wheel. Well, this is the world that we're in, and we have to adapt the best that we can to what we've got. So yes, get the melatonin releasing, and then obviously, if you do go on your phone before you go to bed, you've not broken anything, have you? You've already kind of set the scene. So that's your basic things with regards to your blue light. But when it comes to how to actually get the better sleep, it's more to do with all the things that you're doing during the day. It's what you do within your 24 hours. Suddenly, you're not suddenly going to sleep 8 hours a night because you've turned your screens off an hour before bed. That's not the magic trick.
Yeah.
It's, are you going outside every day and getting fresh air and natural light? Are you exercising? Are you eating the right foods? And again, I'm not talking about, having the most amazingly healthy diet and going and getting organic foods, but are you actually avoiding caffeine in those 7 hours before bed? Are you drinking alcohol in the run up to bed? Are you eating too late? Or is the food too salty, too spicy? What are the things that are actually going on within that day that could be impacting your sleep? Are you drinking enough water? Are you getting all of this stuff that's in your head? Are you getting it out, or is it going to bed with you?
So that
And these are
things
all
in
the things.
yeah. So in terms of
That,
productivity, one of the things I work with people on is helping them to get everything out of their head. And some people will say, oh, that's really therapeutic. I love doing that. And other people go, oh, but that makes me feel more stressed. And then we work on how to make it feel less stressful. But some of the research that I'd read was if you get stuff out of your head, you sleep a bit better. But if you're really specific about what the stuff is that you actually need to do, which is what we train people in around productivity, that actually impacts your sleep. Is that true?
I would agree.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
agree because if you, I went to bed last night knowing I had a few things to do today, and I could have kept it in my head and not written it down, and I'd have probably been all right. But there was the risk that I might have woke up and gone, "Oh, what was that thing? Oh, sugar," and then it might have played on my brain, going, "I've forgotten what it was I needed to do." That's annoying now because I must do that because tomorrow's my last day before half term. Instead, I went, right, I've got to do these 4 things. These are really important. They have to be done before the kids break up.
yeah.
So I write them down and go, that's fine. I don't have to look at that now till tomorrow. I know that's what I've got to do. So I can switch off now. And it's
Okay.
those little things. You'd be surprised how many people don't have a to-do list. I write things on my to-do list that I've already done just so I can cross it off.
And when I'm doing workshops with big groups of people, I will literally say, right, hand up, who's got a to-do list? And then I'll say, keep your hand up if you write stuff on there that you've done already, because it feels nice to tick it off. And people like look around the room and go, other people are keeping their hands up. It's all right to admit to this. So that is so common.
It's a mindset thing. It makes you feel
Yes.
so much better when you can see, because especially when you get rid of all these 2 minute tasks, if you see your list suddenly go from this to this,
Yeah.
yes, okay, these things might be big, but your list is not up here anymore.
Yes. And
Makes a
actually,
difference.
it's about having the clarity about what you need to do. So you might write 10 things on the list, and then when you work out what you actually need to do, you realize there's 10 or 15 things, but then you know what they are, and that feels easier to grapple with than just like, I need to sort my life out.
There is that, but there's also the other side of it of going, do I need to do all of
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
Because this is the other thing. We write our to-do list and we go, I've got all this to do. And then you look at it and go, hang on a minute, I did this yesterday with something. I went, why do I need to do that? Actually, I have somebody who can do that for me. So
Yeah.
why am I stressing myself out about this? Every 2 weeks, I get really stressed about doing a particular job because I can't fit it in around all the other stuff. And I find it really, it makes me feel like I'm failing because I'm struggling to do this particular thing every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I went, actually, it's a really simple thing that's sending emails out, and it's not something that I actually really enjoy doing. It's an admin job that's not about sleep, and I hate admin. So it's like
I'm on
I
that.
have
Yeah, I'm on that
somebody.
train.
Why am I not delegating?
Yes, yeah, yeah. And a lot of the people that I work with who are running their own businesses, for example, will say, I've got no one to delegate to. And it's like, well, if you're worried about the cleaning, like maybe get somebody else to do that. I've got a VA. In fact, I've got another session on my YouTube channel with a VA talking about working with a VA for the first time. So like people can head there and have a look at that if it's something they're a bit not certain about. But yeah, delegating is so, so important. So Nicole, going back to the question around like waking up in the middle of the night, we're getting a picture now of actually it's what you do during the day that matters and makes an impact on that. But if at 3 o'clock in the morning you're waking up and something's on your mind, like, is it a case of like write it down then, have pen and paper by the bed? Do we pick up our phone and play that game or read a book? What's your advice at that point at 3 o'clock in the morning where you're going, I need to go back to sleep, I've got a big day?
Okay, the first thing you do is you don't tell yourself you need to get back to sleep.
Yeah, yeah, because you put pressure on yourself.
Yes, I've got to get back to sleep. I've got to.
Yes,
No, you're
yeah,
not going to, because now you're stressing yourself out about it.
yeah,
So actually, there's a raft of things you could do. Then they're not all going to work for every individual. So it's testing things out, going what works for me. And you know what? It might work sometimes and not others, but we've just got to kind of accept that sometimes life is just like that, and we can't always. When you get angry about the situation and frustrated, then it just becomes worse. So there's an element of acceptance and there's an element of testing things and kind of going, it may work, it may not work. And also there's a part where you change your mindset before you go to bed for that purpose. So
okay.
if you were kind of ready to go to bed and went, what have I done today? And you went, yeah, do you know what? I did this, I did this, I did this. These are all the things that put me in a place to have a good night's sleep.
Yeah,
If I wake up in the night, this is my plan. You've got a strategy, all right, for that night, rather than, oh, when I wake up, I'm going to be like this and I'm going to be like that. You've told yourself you're going to wake up, rather than actually going, I've actually made sure everything is really laid out good. And if I do, I've got a plan. So there's a few things. Yes, absolutely. You can read a book if you wish to. Soft lights, right? No blue lights or anything like that. We want to be avoiding blues, white lights. Red is the best color for night lights because it's the color that least disrupts your sleep because it's the least disrupts your melatonin. That's the reason why the numbers on your alarm clock are red. Obviously, you can't really
oh
read a book with a red light, so you'd probably go for more like your ambers or something. Um, but if you're going to, you could try that. Again, this depends on what your brain is like. For me, I can't put a book down, so I don't read, which sounds really bizarre, but I can't read because I literally go, I've got to do another chapter. I have to do another chapter. So it's all
yeah,
down to
that was
how
my
you
son's.
work. Yeah. So I literally just don't read. And that's been how I've always been from being a kid, even as a child, before, in my like tweens and whatnot. I would still read till 3 o'clock in the morning because I couldn't put the book down, which was just ridiculous. So that there's that you can get up. So first thing to do is try a few things while you're actually lying there.
Yeah.
Right. So step one is I've woke up. Maybe I'll go for a wee. Maybe I'll have a wee because just in case that's the thing that's woke me up. Because you could wake up and realize 5 minutes later that you actually need a wee. And then you've already been sort of procrastinating for a while. So get
Yeah.
up, have your wee, then get back in bed and then just see where you're at. Try deep breathing. Breath work is fantastic. I can't recommend Karen Farrell enough actually for things like breath work. If you want to check her out. But you could literally just lie there, deep breathing. And again, it's what works for you individually. You could do box breath. So in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, in for 4, out for 7, whatever it might be. And just breathe. But do not think about falling asleep. Do not think about work. So but you will need to think about something. So think about, and this is something Kate said to me. Kate, I can never pronounce her surname. Gurney. You can check her out on my page. Something she said was, think about your little toe. And I went, that's not a bad thing. It's the thing that's furthest away from your brain. So you think
Okay.
about the thing that's furthest away from your brain and it just switches everything off. So just
Yeah.
think about your little toe and just lie there and breathe. Now you can also do like the progressive muscle relaxation. And it can be where you tense your toes for a few seconds while you're doing the deep breathing and
Yeah.
you're just thinking about doing that particular action. You relax your toes. You tense your feet for a few seconds and relax. And you literally work up your whole entire body, just tense and relax while you're
Yeah.
breathing. And hopefully, before you get to your face, you fell asleep.
That's so
That's the
interesting because I use that, and I was taught that at school by my drama teacher when I was like 12
yes,
years
that was
old.
where I did.
I was like, this mindfulness thing, it's not that new. Like people have been doing it for thousands of years. And I learned it when I was 12 at school.
Drama and acting classes, they were where I got that, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was it because you needed to switch off, didn't you? And it was
Mm.
how they
Yeah.
got you to switch off, and they'd do the whole think about being on a beach thing and all this type of thing. I'll be honest, I always found that hard, but it's everybody's different. But yeah, so there's that you could do. But if you struggle with that, then it might be that actually maybe you need to get up. And I'd say
Okay.
get up for no more than say 20 minutes. And it could just be having a little wander around or something, have a sit down, maybe flick through a few pages of your book. If you've got something on your mind, get it written down, because you need to get it out because you won't go back to sleep if you don't. So you've got to get it out. And yeah, it's just those little things. But if sleep procrastination, if you lie there and you can't get back to sleep and you're frustrated, the
Mm.
more you just lie there, the more
Yeah.
frustrated you're going to be and the harder
And
it's
then,
going to be to fall back to sleep. So
yeah, you're not relaxing. Yeah.
you've got to
Yeah.
break the frustration.
Okay, that's really helpful. And I can see in the chat there, like other people saying, "Oh yeah, use this lately." My mind just goes somewhere else before I realise. But talk to us, Nicole. I know you're really interested in sleep and how that affects our ability to make decisions throughout the day, because that's
Yeah.
what I often say to people. Yeah, if you're not in a good place, if you're not rested well, you're not looking after your well-being, it becomes harder to make decisions. You make decisions that are less good. So
Mm-hmm.
what's going on there?
Again, it's to do with how we're sleeping. If we're not getting that REM sleep, where our ability to problem solve is less, our decision making, our emotion regulation, all of these things, we become
Mm.
more irritable. We're not as
Oh
quick.
yeah.
Our reaction times are slower with absolutely everything. The thing that's really interesting for me is I ran a case study last year with a business. Now I have online courses as well because obviously, like I said, my niche was always very sort of like the children. And so I have online courses from pregnancy to children turning 6 to educate the parents on child sleep.
Yeah.
So what we did with the company is the employees spent half an hour a day for a week going through the online courses and implementing strategies at home to improve their child's sleep so their own sleep would improve.
Yes.
So one of the people that actually took part said that work that had got to the point of taking 3 to 4 hours to complete and needed a second person to check over it was back to taking 1 hour.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
That's massive. All because she was sleeping, because
Yeah.
we've got our kids to sleep. And it's, you just kind of go, hang on a minute, that's like a sort of 4 times return, you know?
Yeah.
And as a person, and that's not even for the businesses. So if you go, yeah, okay, the business is great now because actually that person is doing 4 times more, they're 4 times more productive than they were. They are great for the business. As the individual who is now suddenly able to get their work done back to the time that they were doing it, their ability goes, actually, I can clock off at the end of the day. I can take my lunch break without feeling like I've got to work through it.
So important.
You know, absolutely, because this is the oh, I'm a mom, I'm not doing what I should be able to do in my part-time hours, I must do unpaid work at home, and all these types of things, which is what we do because we feel like we're just not productive, we're not doing the things that other people are doing in the time that they should. We're expected to be able to do them, and it's probably because we are just absolutely burnt out, overwhelmed and exhausted with lack of support. And this is the key thing. So we've got to really drill back down and say, yeah, how do we make sure that we are sleeping? Because that impacts our productivity, it impacts our decision making. It's things like the cost of living crisis. About 20% of people on average have sleep struggles purely for financial reasons.
Yes.
And it's obviously going to be getting worse because of this cost of living crisis. It's horrific. And I actually did a session last week for a business, and actually their focus was the cost of living crisis. So we talked about the fact that actually, if you are sleeping better, you will be more productive because you will actually be able to fit the work into that time. So you will have excess time here to find ways to, do things, whether it be, I don't know, sell things on Vinted, that you might have freed yourself up some time to find a way to earn an extra bit of an income. It might just be that your decision making is better, that you're able to find time to speak to somebody, you get proper help with your finances, you make less impulsive decisions, so you eat less takeaways because actually, do you know what I mean? You're not constantly on that battle of going, oh, I've got to find a way to eat, I'm so busy, I'm so stressed, I'll just eat. Actually, if your time is back to work time and your time out of work time is yours, maybe you will cook healthier meals, maybe you will batch cook, so that is much more of a cost saving to you as well.
Yeah.
So all these extra bits, you will be less impulsive because you're sleeping better. So because you're less impulsive, you're less likely to do that impulse spend, on that impulse purchase, because you'll actually think about, do I really need that?
Do I need this? Yeah. And
No,
in
actually, no. Or I can find a way to do that with what I've already got.
yeah. Okay, that's really important, isn't it? And there's a question there that links in with what you just said in the chat from Sarah. Any more tips around nutrition that can help? So we've talked about eating water, eating healthy ish, healthier foods are going to help, but anything specific that Sarah and others can go away and say, right, if I'm going to make 1 or 2 changes, it's going to look like this.
So I'm never going to say that I'm a nutritionist.
No.
That's just not, I'm not a nutritionist. What I will say is it's about getting the right variation of your meats, your veg, your fruits, your milk, your dairy, all that type of stuff. If you're a vegetarian, a vegan, a pescatarian, making sure you're taking the right supplements to balance out any nutrients you're missing. I always refer people to the NHS website because that's the best place to go as a starting point to get your basics. And it's your basics. It's not about, I'm going to tell you to go and buy quinola or whatever it's called. I don't know, granola. My lifestyle isn't that way. I'm a very simple person with life, and I always think, how would I be? I'm time poor. I don't have loads of money. I've got kids that are fussy. What is it that I can fit into a busy lifestyle as a parent that's got fussy kids? And it ain't all the seeds and beans and everything else. It's how do you make quick choices that are just not totally unhealthy? So check that out and do what's right for you. But yes, definitely the whole drinking the water and eating healthy. With regards to the food, though, try not to eat a large meal 2 hours before bed because that sits heavy on your stomach. Try and avoid your spicy foods before bed as well, and high in salt things as well, because again, they affect your sleep.
Okay.
What was I say? There are foods that are sleep promoting and that are sleep that it negatively impacts sleep as well. So we want to avoid certain things like aged cheese before bed. It's not a good idea. Luckily, I
Okay,
don't
so
like
that's
cheese.
true. That's like a thing that, I've heard
Yeah,
my grandparents say, like, oh, we shouldn't eat cheese before we go to bed.
they say it's about nightmares, but actually it's the stuff that's in there, and it's things like gosh, I'm trying to think. I've got it on a list. So my tomatoes, I think aubergines. I think it's aubergines. I can't remember.
They're my
But
two favorite
and
veg.
it's not saying not to eat them, but it's the
Yeah.
things that in the run up to bedtime that are probably not the best things.
Okay.
So then you've got a list of other foods, things like bananas, cherries, kiwis. Do you know what I mean? They are good. Turkey, you know, banana actually has serotonin. Is it serotonin? That is a muscle relaxant. It's also got tryptophan, which is precursor to melatonin. So it's certain things that you can actually eat that are beneficial to improving sleep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't stand bananas.
Me neither. I was thinking, oh, the things that you
I
mentioned
know,
are good. I don't like them.
but cherries are good. Cherries actually have melatonin in it, but you'd obviously have to eat an awful lot. But you can get cherry juice, like concentrated cherry juice. So if you are struggling, it's probably the closest you'll get to going down the medication route, melatonin, but in a more natural way.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Okay.
so
That's
there's
cool.
little things that you can try like
Yeah.
that.
And I think
But yeah,
sleep sounds a lot like a lot of the productivity stuff that I do. People will, particularly journalists, when you're speaking to someone that's like, right, what's the one thing people can do? And it's like, if it was that simple, everybody would be doing it already, because there isn't just one thing, there's lots of
yeah.
little things. There's a quite a long question in the chat there. Two big issues. So I'll give you these one at a time. My daughter falls asleep after 9 p.m., which makes my bedtime later. And then my daughter wakes in the night.
How old's the daughter?
9 years
Yeah.
old.
Say again?
9 years old.
10. Yeah.
Okay. And then your daughter's waking in the night at 10.
Yeah, I won't go into the details of why that is, Nicole, but yes, there are reasons for
No,
that.
that's fine. I'm guessing that there's something that's obviously triggering that. So the thing that I'd say is really important with it, especially if you're not going to bed till after 9, because you watch right, and this is the same for all of us, especially when we're parents. We're snatching time in the evenings for ourselves. Once our kids have gone to bed, it's like this is my time now, and we feel like it's protected and it's our time, and this is where we get this whole just one more episode on Netflix because this is our time to decompress. This is our me time. But actually, sleep is so important that we have to prioritize it, but we also have to give ourselves that me time. So it's really important to try and carve at least sort of 15 to 20 minutes out of your day for me time. So if you can do that and go, this is what I have done for myself today, nobody else. I have allowed myself this time to do whatever it is to switch off. This is my thing. You'll feel less like you need to sort of snatch at those bits of time in the evening. So you will kind of go, yeah, okay, I'm in the middle of this. It's halfway through, but actually, I really should be going to bed. And I did give myself that time earlier. So yes, I'm going to pause it and I will watch it tomorrow. You said that's what you don't have in my day. Right. So there is something that's really important. And I haven't talked about this yet, and I have been wanting to mention it, and I keep getting distracted. And there's a way that you can utilize a 20-minute point of the day. So we recently ran a survey. We had 1,120 participants who'd had children in the last 7 years complete the survey. And we asked them, do you go outside into natural light for 20 minutes a day? Only 20 minutes. We're not talking like masses or anything like that. You would think that everybody would go outside for 20 minutes a day. No, only 31% of people said they go out every single
Oh.
day. Like
And
for
I guess
just
people are working from home so much more now than they were 7, 8
yeah.
years ago.
So
That's
if you think you do, you get up,
yeah.
you do the kids' stuff, you get them ready, you take them to where they go, you go to work, you work through your lunch break because you think that you should, so you don't give yourself that time. You get to the end of the day, you then race home, you get back, beat the kids up, you go home, then you can't go out because the kids are in bed, and your day is gone. And where is that time for you? And where is that time to go out? And it's just not happened. 31% of people also said hardly ever or some days.
Wow.
That's frightening.
That is
You know,
scary.
we need to go outside for at least 20 minutes a day to help our sleep, because we need it to send the messages to the brain to reset our circadian rhythm, our body clock. So it's a hugely important part. So if we can say, do you know what? I need, not I should, we've got to reframe all this.
Yeah.
We've got to stop prioritizing ourselves. And especially if you're a carer, especially if you're a sandwich generation carer that's tied at both ends here, that doesn't give themselves any time for them, you've got to say, do you know what? I've got to stop doing this. I should give myself 20 minutes. You've got to go, I need to give myself this 20 minutes. I deserve this 20 minutes. And I am going to be a better parent, a better person, a better employee because I have done that. Now, use that 20 minutes to go outside, and that 20 minutes can also be your you time. That can also be a time that you do some exercise. It can also be a time to chat to a friend. It can be a time that you drink some water. It can be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be you go outside and stand there for 20 minutes. It's 20 minutes. How am I going to utilize this 20 minutes the best that I can, where I am killing however many birds with one stone? I get outside, I get the natural light, I get the fresh air, and I do what for me in that time. We can find 20 minutes. We can force ourselves to find 20 minutes. We have to.
You could read a book. I sat outside the other day and worked for a little while because it was a lovely sunny day, and in the UK that's kind of rare. So I was there with my sunglasses and my laptop, but I wasn't delivering a training session or doing any coaching. I was just catching up on some admin type work. And I felt so good and positive because I was like, yes, I'm outside, and it was really exciting.
Yeah, it makes such a difference.
It does.
We've started, so we're really lucky actually. There's a little tennis club near us. We didn't realize this. We've lived here nearly 10 years and we only recently found it. It's literally in a little nook around the corner. And it's so cheap. So it's not like we're a member of a tennis club. Ooh, look at us. It's like 150 quid for 6 months. It's like great. So what we do now, me and my husband, is we will literally go outside every day. We'll try every day anyway. We'll go across there and we'll play tennis for 20 minutes. And it's because we're both self-employed.
Yeah.
And it's so easy when you're self-employed to fall into that trap of doing nothing for yourself and going, I'll just do this. I'll just do this. So we hold each other accountable. We go, right, come on, we're going. Yeah. Right, get the race, let's go. You know what I mean? And that's all we do. We only do 20 minutes. We haven't got time to do any more than that.
Yeah.
But we feel better for it. We laugh, we run, we're out for 20 minutes. So we're getting a bit of exercise. It's good. It takes your brain off work, you know, and it's some time for us as well as a couple because we don't have that time. Yeah. You know, it's good.
That sounds really good and positive. And I've got a friend who's often sends me a picture of her outside in her garden hula hooping. Like that's a really easy way because she loves doing that. I have some fun with that too. I literally got a dog to make me get outside more often. Like I have to go and walk the dog, ideally twice a day. Like so, like that's I get my steps up outside. Yeah.
The exercise thing as well. So ideally, we want to be exercising for at least 15 minutes a day, which again can feel really hard. And I'm going to tell you what I've kind of done with my life and with exercise, because exercise for me, never a fan. Never a fan. I was that person that would look at the people running and go, yeah, right. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Especially when you see them running in the rain and you go, what's wrong with you? Why are you running in the rain?
I know people who think it's fun.
Well, it is. It actually is. So last year, bearing in mind, I'm 43 now. So I was 42 last year. And I started running. And the way that I did it, and the only reason I did it, and this will be the same for so many people, right? I did it because I didn't fit into my clothes. So I had a choice. I could buy more clothes in a size up. Hang on a minute. Two things here. Do I want to accept that? Actually, I can't actually afford to buy any more clothes. So it's like,
I like the ones I've got.
No clothes. I was like, what am I going to do about it? So it was like, well, I can't afford the gym because I haven't got the money to go to the gym. But even if I did have the money to go to the gym, I actually haven't got the time to go to the gym. So how am I supposed to do that? So I'm going, I'm time poor, I'm financially poor. What am I going to do? And I just made the decision one day to run home from the school run.
Yeah. Okay.
It's 0.4 miles. So it's a 10-minute walk. It's nothing, right? And I thought, I'll run home. And I stopped about 10 times, right? I got home. I lay on the sofa. I was bright red. I couldn't breathe. And I'm going, oh. This is how unfit I am. I went, that's horrific. With at the time, a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old, you know what I mean? I'm going, that's really bad as a parent to be that unfit. So I made the decision to say, right, I'm going to make sure I just go out every day to try and run, even if it's just for 5 to 10 minutes, just to try.
Little and often is good.
Absolutely. And within weeks, what I was doing, so behind the kids' school is a running track. It's just like 400 meters. So what I would do, I'd got to the where I'd drop them off at school at 9 o'clock. I'd go to the track. I'd run around the track. I'd do 2 kilometers in 15 minutes. I'd go home, out in the shower, and I was working for 9:30.
Yeah.
So in the space of half an hour, I could get my 15 minutes exercise in, run 2 kilometers, and still be ready for work by 50:30. And my mental health improved, my physical health improved. And I didn't have a knee injury in the July, so I had to stop, and I kind of didn't get back into it. And I've just started again recently, the last few weeks again. Pretty similar thing. Clothes were getting a bit too tight. It's like, I'll start. And this morning I did 3.2 kilometers, so I did 8 laps.
Well done.
Still here.
Yeah. Brilliant. And I think that thing, that thing about getting started, doing it little, like when I'm training people around habits, it's like start out small. It doesn't have to be, right, I'm going to do a 5K or a 10K. It's like, actually just put your trainers on and leave the house and run for some of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be running. Like I love swimming. Like swimming is my thing. Or getting the hula hoop out, or sometimes just dancing around in the kitchen and listening to what you're saying. Like, do that dancing in the garden instead of in the kitchen, Hayley.
Exactly. No, absolutely. And the thing is, you don't have to do it every single day. We're not turning around to you and going, you've got to do this every day. Because again, you're setting yourself up to fail by doing that. That gives you putting that pressure on. But if you're doing nothing, then actually doing something some days, that's better than doing nothing.
Yeah.
So do it some days. Yeah.
And it's little things, isn't it? Like in terms of the habits, and you've talked a lot today about the importance of drinking more water. Like I'm rubbish at that. And before I join any Zoom call, I now make sure I've got a glass of water. And when it gets empty, I go and fill it up.
Get a water bottle.
Yeah.
Get a water bottle. Because then you just constantly do it. Everyone laughs at me because whenever I go out, I've always got my water bottle, because it's just, I keep on top of it. And I'm always having a drink.
Yes. If it's there, you'll drink it. If it's not there, you won't.
Not there. I've got this.
Yeah. Cool. Fantastic. I'm conscious of time. I don't want to keep you for too much longer because you've got lots of other people to go and help with their sleep. So you do one-to-one work, you do work with corporations, organizations, teams of people. Tell me more about that.
So one of the big things I want to do is I want to make sleep education part of mandatory training in all businesses in the UK. So that's my goal. It's not my goal. I've got lots of goals. That's one of many goals. Big goals. So that's one of the big things I want to do. But we have to do that by starting to raise awareness and start talking about it. So at the moment, what I'm doing most of at the moment is speaking to businesses and saying, where are your staff struggling? Where do they need to, actually, improve things? So what I'm doing is we're just doing webinars on sleep education, understanding why it's important to get, the science behind it, the impact of not getting enough sleep, how to look after themselves better, and the basic sleep hygiene. And then what we do is then we say, so what's the bit in the middle? So what's the missing link? So whether it be like last week, the cost of living crisis. This week we've had tech-heavy people, so people are on the laptops all the time. We've had sandwich generation carers. We've had andropause. Never heard of andropause till recently. Male menopause. So obviously I had to do some more studying. So andropause, menopause, parents. What else have I done this week? Yes, they were salespeople. Obviously, because if you work in sales, you need to be on the ball, people with targets, work pressures. So actually we frame everything around what it is that the business needs, and those people that are working there, what is it that's the thing that's making them struggle with their sleep. So we start with that. But there's also you know, pre-recorded stuff. I do stuff for parents. We've got the pre-recorded parental rage workshop. So again, it's helping, especially in the run up to the summer holidays.
Yeah.
How do parents actually when things get tough,
yeah,
how do they come out the other side of that when it's really bad? So there's those. I can work with people on one-to-one, help with their families. But the big thing for me right the way through is I want to change the workplace culture, but there's a huge part that starts from before a baby arrives. So again, I want to change the curriculum for midwives. So we're educating expectant parents on how they support each other, so we get a better equity in the parenting journey. But to do that, we have to then change the workplace culture, because we need the businesses to say, yes, you are about to be a dad, and it is okay to be a dad. It is okay to pick your child up from nursery, to have flexible working. It is okay to have that shared role, rather than it feeling like that. So we're that way, we do change all of it right through the system, because that's the thing. You can't change one bit. You can't suddenly say, we want you to have better equity in your parenting journey, and then the workplace doesn't support that. So it's the whole journey, it's the whole narrative throughout. So yes, there's loads of stuff, but it's all in my it's all in my brochure, but there's always stuff getting added. So yeah, it's always busy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nicole. I've learned lots of stuff, and I'm sure that other people have had too. So thank you for joining us. And yeah, I'll make sure that the details are all shared so that people who are looking at the video can see your details as well.
Amazing. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.